Haven't we had just the best weekend here at the Bend Motorsport Park? Tony Shebeki right alongside me. Tone, you only landed here today and you sort of missed the mayhem of yesterday, but it's just been a fantastic day, hasn't it?
I got the opportunity to sleep in Murray Bridge last night, Darren. I came last night, but no.
Nice place too.
Yeah, exactly. But did catch up with photos and the like of what happened yesterday, but what a perfect day today. Just a little bit of rain here towards the end, and it'll be interesting to see whether the cars like the track in the rain.
Race 3 highlights on screen now. Look at that Pantera menacing up the side there. Gave a little clip to the MG on the way through there as well. I'm pretty sure Rusty didn't mean to do that, just moved over. Probably didn't realise that the MGB was accelerating, not quite at the same rate of knots as him. Tony Floriani ventured off. It was his first and only spin for the weekend, but the number 25 obviously hurt something and didn't get through to the line quite as well, and it hasn't actually made it onto the grid here, so withdrew from that race. That's a real shame for the Victorian out of Bendigo. Joe Kalia jumping away in that Corvette. A couple of Porsches going side by side with each other there at the moment. And, the spinner, oh gee, that was so lucky,
wasn't it?
That would have been a really expensive build to fix both that Alpha and that Corvette up. Couple of spins for the number 24. Found himself out in the boonies numerous times during that last race. Seabrook home and Rusty French charging all the way through the field. Kind of like the black Saab with Sky Sands written on the side of it in the last race. So maybe it's something about gloss black cars with Sky Sands written on the side for charging from the rear of the grid here today.
Really looking forward to the start here as well with Seabrook and French up the front. So you just reckon with the power that Rusty French showed from the start of the last race, back in the field and worked his way up about 10 or 11 spots before turn 1, that he could even be up in front by turn 1 in this one. And if he is, I think it'll be goodbye.
Yeah, I think so. You might be right there, but with these inclement conditions, the bulk horsepower that he's got on board, he has to be able to get that down as soon as possible. And if he's wheel spinning, you tend to possibly break axles and things like that when you're wheel spinning really hard in those things. They've got a very complex transaxle type of arrangement. The motor sits in behind the shoulder of the driver and then goes backwards. So Wayne Seabrook will try and cover off Rusty French in the De Tomaso Pantera. Great name too, good name for a heavy metal band too.
It's Doug Barber from P3.
James Calvert-Jones, John Harrison, Tom Auster in that Martini liveried 928, David Withers, Alex Webster, the Porsche employee, Kent Brown and Ryan Kearney out of position number 10.
And as we flip the page from 11, Dale Ashby in the Alfa Romeo from 11, Brian Weston in the MG Midget in 12, Tony Antoon, Peter Axford, Timothy Linus, and finishing off with Peter Boylan in our last spot on the grid, position number 16.
It's clearly greasy out there on the track. Like, it's not glossy, but it's definitely wet. It's changed colour. It's absorbing the water as we speak.
And you can see the amount of water around the dirt area as well. So
yeah, it's not time for wet tyres though. It's not time. Greg Rust is still down in the pits. A very long day down there covering the pit lane for us. Thanks, Rusty.
A long day, Darren, but a good day, mate. I've really enjoyed it here. It is still sprinkling in the lane, and I've just seen the Sky Sands crew that look after Rusty French and that amazing De Tomaso Pantera. They just said to me, we're hoping this rain doesn't get any heavier. You know why? There's no wiper or no working wiper system on that car.
That to ourselves, boys. We don't want anyone else in the world to know about that.
So if we see Rusty's arm coming out the side window, just to sort of wipe a little bit.
Well, no, Rusty just has to go faster, so it beads off and goes over the roof, doesn't he? So thank you very much, Greg Rust. Done a tremendous job on his first day here with the Shannons Nationals. Not bad, our work experience kid down the lane,
he's done
is
all right, actually. He might be okay at this.
He's got a good career ahead of him. The Bend Motorsport Park emblazoned across the top of this grid. Group S, the final race for round 1 of the Shannons Nationals for 2018, and indeed the first ever race meeting here at the Bend Motorsport Park, and away we go. The lights ablaze on the Wayne Seabrook car as they come up that little rise. It's going to be the De Tomaso Pantera that's got its nose in front, but under brakes, will it be the Porsche that gets through to turn 1 first? Side by side they go, joined by Doug Barber, Calvert-Jones in there as well, but it's going to be Seabrook that gets through. No one's got their wipers on yet, so Rusty's not missing out on anything just yet, but certainly if the car in front starts to throw some greasy spray at him or something like that, then Rusty will be in a bit of strife.
That's why Rusty probably would have liked to have been in front by turn 1. Unfortunately for him, good driving by Seabrook to hold that position.
So the car behind him, which is Calvert Jones, has gone for a flick of the wipers, just on intermittent at this point in time. The number 99 just looks like he's just hanging on at the moment and accelerates away. Got 3 of these cars. We saw that interview with him that Greg Rust did. There's another car which is a Group S type of car, and another one that doesn't really fit in any category, but it's nice to look at. Said Rusty. So sure is nice to look at too. Is that Alfa Romeo Montreal? I cannot believe that we've got a Montreal racing on the track. You don't want to Google the value of those things these days. That's for sure. Number 27, Wayne Seabrook, has done a tremendous job in his Porsche here this weekend. The Porsche is set up magnificently for the Bend Motorsport Park. Whether that was from knowledge base, well, you wouldn't think so. No one's had a chance to do a lap. He's just looked at the track map and went, right, I think it's going to need this setup in it. And away we go. Either that or he just goes to every race meeting with the same setup and adjusts it on the run.
That just works. Seabrook in front in his 911 Porsche. Rusty French in second place. It is James Calvert-Jones, who started from P4, has made his way up to third at the moment. The man who did start in third, Doug Barber, is down in 6th place as we speak. So not the best of starts for Barber in his 911.
Comes the 289. Don't call it a Mustang, it's a Shelby 350 GT 350. MGB chased by a 105 Alfa Romeo. I really like that shape of Alfa. Sans bumpers, you know, the lightweight racing version. Super Veloce.
Oh, the shape of the MGB. Except in wet conditions.
I tell you what, though, iconic shape, isn't it? The
it
MGB.
Is, yeah.
Yeah, when Mazda wanted to sell a whole lot of sports cars, they just made a modern version of that and called it the MX-5, didn't they? Absolutely. Here's Tony Wallstep in 4th place, where he should be in the 928. In fact, there should just be a trophy for making it last through to the end of the weekend. Group S. Really big, heavy, 4.5 litre Porsche front engine, rear transaxle. Balanced nicely. Got a fair bit of weight to balance there indeed. So the 62 105 Alpha has gone through on the little MGB. So we're seeing that's the swap between Axford and Brown. So just watching this battle as it rages. You'll see this at just about any historic meeting in Alpha racing an MG. These cars are not—they're representative of their era, and they're built to an era, but they're not actually cars with a history. They can be new builds, so it does encourage to get competitors out there. You can find a car somewhere in the world and rebuild it, which is often the way with Enthusiast Motorsport.
Good to watch though, because Axford picked up that spot, Daz, but Brown wasn't giving it away.
No,
he was hanging on.
This is not a demonstration run. This is serious racing. We've seen that the way Wayne Seabrook and Rusty French have gone about their racing. They're out in front, racing around, and they're still through the field. We've seen a little bit of attrition, as you would expect, because the cars do have to run what the mechanical package that it was designated with as well. Here's another 928, and that's Timothy Linus in the very dark green and gold livery. And the number 75 Healy Sprite there as well. That's at each end of the scale, isn't it? 4.5 litre V8 in the little Sprite, 1200 or 1100 cc in a Sprite.
And the little MG midget at the back.
Just looking for where that little Healy Sprite of Simon Mayer is. That Simon hasn't actually taken the grid for this one. So Wayne Seabrook now gone full fastest in this race at 2:25.81. 2:25.81 on the second lap. So he's not standing around waiting for Rusty French to make an attack on him, is he? He's actually out there setting fastest laps. It's been Rusty French that set the full fastest lap in previous races.
Having said that, though, they are some 11 seconds slower than they were only an hour and a half ago when they had race 3. So the track just affecting him a little bit.
Tricky conditions.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely tricky conditions.
Lap 3 of 9, 6 remaining here at the Bend. Final race of the first ever race meeting here at Tailem Bend Motorsport Park. And it has been the 2018 CAMS National Racing Championships, round 1 of the National Championships. Final race is Group S.
I think all of us that are still at the track at this late hour, there are some teams that have had to obviously leave to head back to their home states, but I think we should all just take a moment, take a deep breath and have a look around the Bend Motorsport Park and say, hey, I was there the first time that track opened, and really enjoyed the weekend with the Shannons Nationals. We'd really implore you to just take a deep breath, have a look around, see what we're currently looking at, and then in the years go by, just see how the place changes.
Story for the grandkids.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Remember when Rusty French took the Pantera and burnt around and he couldn't catch Wayne Seabrook in the Porsche?
What's a Pantera, Grandad?
It's a rock band from the 80s, son. Oh, and a race car from the 70s.
A lot of heavy metal on that Pantera, let me tell you.
Isn't there ever? Yes.
Getting a good little lead now, Seabrook, over Rusty French, out to 10.5 seconds. Halfway through this 4th race for the Group S cars.
And James Calvert-Jones is one step further up on the podium in this one than he has been. He's just been off the podium this weekend. He's currently on 3rd position, and Tony Wallstep hasn't gone backwards and had to fight forwards. He's actually sitting there in 4th. There he is, charging along. Listen to the 4.5 litre V8. Doesn't actually thump, does it? Just sort of sings along there, the 4.5 litre V8, the Porsche.
Not sure if he's going to get it, James Calvert-Jones, but he would love just a little bit more precipitation, I reckon, just to make life just a little bit more difficult for Rusty French and give an opportunity to merge that 2-second gap. Yeah,
certainly Rusty's not got the game on a string like he's had pace-wise for the most of this weekend. Coming through the 289 is Harrison.
You drive him differently when they're in your own car, don't you?
Don't you ever. Don't you ever. This is back in the pack now, down to Peter Boylan, Timothy Linus, back to Weston. And Doug Barber's found himself right back down the field, in fact, not taking any further part. Took the start, but has retired out of this race. In fact, at the moment, we're only going to get 12 across the line. We started the weekend with 27, so we've had a fair old whack with the Group S cars as they tend to expire as they go around. Really cool that these two 968s have continued on their way. I guess if it was a 40-degree day, that's when the under-bonnet temperatures in the 928 start to really rise and become an issue for them.
And the 928 pushing hard with that little MG midget. Under brakes.
Real shame that Simon Mayer didn't get out there, Shebex. He was in that top 5 all weekend long in his Sprite. Shame he didn't get to the last run at it. Great shots of the Antoon and Peter Boylan car. The Shelby GT350 and the Porsche 911 Carrera. You get the... So we're just getting word is that Rusty French is indeed slowing, and he is. Right opposite the pit lane, so on the run out of 15, 16 and up to 17. So Rusty French.
It looks like it's downhill from there, does it?
It does, but it then digs back uphill coming into turn 17. What a shame for the number 99. He still got 5 laps to go. You're not going to get there dribbling around like that. That's a real shame. Liqua Molly Pilata Sky Sands Pantera. Great support given to this category this weekend by Gulf Oil Australia. Doesn't that just look so purposeful, that car?
Yeah, it does, and what a shame.
If you're a Mick Fanning, that would look like a shark coming up underneath the water to catch you, wouldn't it? Give it a punch on the nose. Send it on its way. Wayne Seabrook, have a look at this. He's not holding back, Wayne. He's actually just gone fastest in the first sector, and he's moving the Porsche around, isn't he?
Looking to bring it back up to the 220s is Seabrook. He's 224 at the moment, but he was 228. Rusty down in pit lane. What do you got for us there, mate?
Shebex, I feel for the Sky Sands boys. They've had their hands full this weekend. This car is amazing in many respects, but it has its moments as well, and they think it's something driveline, so possibly gearbox or something else. So at the moment they're a little frustrated because by and large it has been a jet this weekend, hasn't it?
Well, they've got a race win, and that's always nice, but when you back up a race win with 2 DNFs, it does get a little bit frustrating. No race team comes to the track for that's for sure.
No.
Particularly when you work hard at it.
Drivelines are a better loss than engine.
Oh, yeah, but gee, there wouldn't be any parts available.
No.
There wouldn't be.
It's
It'd
tough.
just be, you have to build it, you have to make it. Get someone with a whittling device and a lathe or something like that.
Tickford Racing.
Yeah, I suppose you've got that whole resource, haven't you? I bet they haven't got time to do the folly of their one of their team owners.
No, they've got a bit of work to do after their round down at Tasmania last week.
Wayne Seabrook now, Bowden zone along the side there. That's obviously why it's got the beautiful gloss on it. Car Care Products, making sure that Wayne Seabrook's Porsche looks great. And as long as he keeps going out in front, even with a bit of damage, it does look great. Winners are grinners. You can wear that bit of damage if you've come home with a couple of race wins in your Porsche on the weekend at the opening of the Bend Motorsport Park. Tony Wallsteb now. That Porsche just doing nicely. Normally, they're a handful. He's got this thing just doing the job he has to do. I think running the Martini livery helps that too. Looks
great. Nearly my favourite livery, Martini livery.
It stood the test of time.
Yeah.
That and the Golf Oils one, the orange over the blue,
Yeah.
stood the test of time. Lucky I said that because Golf are sponsoring this one.
And the black and gold JPS livery up there with also.
Yep.
I had a 3 Series 82 BMW, the Bauer with the half hard top.
Yeah. The Targa type bar over the top. You would have been quite the piece in your Bauer.
Looked very schmick.
Yeah, absolutely. TS. Montreal leading the Julia Sprint. So the 2.5 litre out in front there. On the wipers on, both these Alphas at the moment. And it's really cool to see a couple of Alphas getting through to the end of the weekend there as well. Here's car number 73.
Wipers going a bit harder now.
Pete Boylan have been around a long time in the back in the pro car days, ran GTP, various different cars in that era.
How's that sky shot we just saw there, Des? Absolutely spectacular.
It is. The interesting thing with the dust in the air, it gives the sun the orange effect, doesn't it? Have a look at this. Isn't that an iconic shot of the future? Porsche, Shelby GT350, the Bend Motorsport Park over the top of the straight here.
That's got pretty dark out there now.
It has, yeah. Yep. 4 laps to go. It's been a pretty tidy run here, albeit that it's been punctuated by a very greasy racetrack. And here's our race leader again, Wayne Seabrook. Wipers now working very, very hard there. It's not falling that hard, but it's enough to annoy you that when you come onto the straight now and you're looking up into the sun, if you've got any sort of sand blasting on your screen and water, it'll look like a fog all over the front of the screen here. Long shot. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this long shot go up in August, maybe on a drone of some description, and take that nice high shot of the start.
85 metre elevation change on this track around the circuit.
Deceptive though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You sort of think it's flat, but it's not. It's definitely got distinctive ups and downs and undulations. I'm quite surprised when I set eyes on this place when I arrived. It really does have drop-offs and the corners camber on and camber off.
Peter Boylan just having a little bit of an off-road expedition there. coming back on in front of Brian Weston in the MG Midget and putting his hand out the window just saying, thanks for that.
Yep, and go past again.
It's a good little battle. Nice.
75 understeers now, as does the Porsche. Coming around through 14, 15. Back to the number 27, Wayne Seabrook, the class of the field here for Group S this weekend. And Wayne doing a tremendous job representing himself here this weekend.
My first love was my prep teacher, who had an MG. That's why I loved her.
I didn't think I'd put the councillor sign on the door there, Shebex. You're admitting all sorts of things on air now.
A beautiful old red MG.
Wayne Seabrook in the Victorian title last year came third behind Jeff Morgan and James Calvert-Jones. He certainly got James Calvert-Jones covered off this weekend.
You'd say it'd be a good battle this year between those two now?
Yep, certainly. So roles reversed, in fact, this weekend. Jeff Morgan did absolutely took the Victorian title, which is known as the Goldfields Cup, and then the Catalina Cup in New South Wales, and the Capricorn Cup in Queensland, and then this National Series gets together for only a couple of race meetings a year. Here's that magnificent gold Alfa Romeo Montreal. Very limited number of these produced. I do like the Monty 8, 2.5 litre V8 on board there. And it continues on its way. Final lap now for our race leader, Wayne Seabrook. Absolute lights ablaze in the number 27.
Had a good weekend, hasn't he?
Yep, he certainly has. When he saw how quick Rusty was, he would have been, really? Do I have to race this guy all weekend? As it turned out, he had to race him all weekend long, but in 2 of the 3 races, he's beaten him home. And it certainly wouldn't be something that he came here to experience. He would have loved to have raced it. Racer's racer is Wayne Seabrook, as is Rusty French. I'm sure Rusty doesn't like sitting stranded on the side of the track. He'd rather be watching these guys.
Correct.
From either in his rear vision mirror or from just in front of the bonnet.
Good battle for second and third as well. Calvert-Jones and Walstab. Only a second between the two on this final lap. Calvert-Jones is going to have to keep it tidy. Any movement sideways, and you would reckon that positions may change. The 911 of Walstab may just get up. Oh, sorry, the 928 of Walstab, the 911 of Calvert-Jones. There's Walstab actually going for his own little slide, so the roles were reversed. It wasn't Calvert-Jones who had to worry about it. It was Walstab that went off a little bit there. So he now drops right off the pace. Will hold on to third place though.
He's our race leader. Only 4 corners left to execute. And he can tick off second race victory for Sunday, the final day of round 1 of the Shannons Nationals. Of course, it's about now where you like to thank our major supporter, Shannons Insurance. They do a fantastic job, and I dare say a lot of this field would be covered by Shannons Insurance.
Got to say also big congratulations to Graham Sattler as well, and his team at Cairns who have put this event together. What an amazing event in the time that they had to get it right.
Checkered flag here for Wayne Seabrook. I actually feel as though we should probably give Grazer a checkered flag here this weekend. Graham Sattler from Cairns, he's worked very, very hard. He's almost a broken man this afternoon. He's been at it so hard. So congratulations to Wayne Seabrook. It's a good run there. He takes away strong points in the Group S national title hunt for this weekend. Calvert-Jones also now coming to the line, so a very, very healthy lead. Nearly 30 seconds at the end of the day between first and second. And Tuiner's finished as well in the Shelby 350. And there's that straight. As we see Wayne Seabrook coming around the top end of the track. We'll go down now to Greg Rust.